What's up, sneak peekers? It's Lily. We're here at the premiere of La Gloria at Austin Film Fest, about to interview the cast and crew. What was your inspiration behind this?
When I was a kid, so this is my grandparents' ranch that we shot
Oh,
on.
really?
Yes.
Okay, so cool.
And so I grew up in that house, and when I was a kid, I would like hear people walking up to the house. I'd be in bed sleeping, and I'd hear people walk up to this house and hear people speaking Spanish, and my grandparents would go answer the door, and it would be people walking up a migrant path to the crossing the land to get into the country. But this was, in the 80s, so it wasn't nearly as fraught an issue then, and a lot of people went back and forth, and they would come back and forth and stop in the same place every time. So my grandparents even knew some of them, and they would stop and they would work for a few days. But I was always captivated by this image of these people walking hundreds and hundreds of miles to do this. And I probably over romanticized it, but I did romanticize it. And then I also loved the way that my grandparents interacted on a human level. It wasn't as politically caricatured as it is now, and that's really what the film is about, is this idea of like showing underneath all of the political rhetoric there's just like two humans, and that's the inspiration.
Can you tell me a little bit about your character?
Yeah, well, Carson, he was at one time, he was a big deal in the community, and he had to go to prison for mercy kind of reasons, which nobody understood. He became kind of a pariah, and that's where you start the movie, as he's newly back in the world, in a world that really doesn't know how to deal with him. And he's alone on his ranch. I'm not sure if he wants to go on with his life, and that's where we begin. And it's a great story that comes out of it.
Is there something specific that he's representing?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, we're living in a complicated world in a lot of different ways. And definitely this idea of mercy killing, someone you love, someone who wants to end their life. I think he represents, there's a lot of people who are facing questions like that.
Yes, I play Harley, who is a border agent, son to rancher played by David Morse. And my father and myself are estranged at best, or the relationship is tense. And it turns out he starts to harbor an immigrant, and I end up hunting down, and it strains things further, obviously, but forces a kind of reckoning between us. He's a man who's trying hard in some very complicated circumstances and wrestling with what he's supposed to think and what he might really think.
Yeah. How is playing this character similar or different to roles you've done before?
Well, one of the things I'd like to do when I choose roles is not to choose roles that are too similar to what I've done before.
Gotcha.
So, like I said, he was a real prominent person in the community, and I've certainly played those roles.
Oh, there's a bee.
That's right. And I played those roles. But it's fun to see someone who that's all collapsed on him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of what I liked about this. Is that bee still up there?
I think it might be behind you. It's not flying around.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
He likes you.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Well, I think, every character you play has some crossover, right? But no, I haven't played a guy specifically like this, I guess, before. Certainly not in the position he is within the grander scope of the border issue and how he wrestles with that. Yeah.
So how is that for you? Something different? Do you like it?
Yes. I try and make everyone different. That's the fun of it. I think the variety.
Is there any advice you could give to us as students trying to break into the industry?
God, it's so different for you guys than when I first started. You have so many more tools at your disposal. I'm sure you hear all the time how, if we wanted to make a film when I was in school, you had to rent one from the school, and Uh, but it's maybe, I don't know, it's maybe a bit of a double-edged sword. Uh, I'd say just say yes and keep creating, fall on your ass a bunch.
Well, take care of each other and work with each other and become really serious about what you do with each other, because that's who you're going to turn to as you go through this life.
For sure.
Yeah. That's going to be a big resource for you.
For sure. And considering like the current presidential candidate's stance on border control and immigration, why do you think this film is so important?
I think the film, it brings it down to a human scale. There are a lot of statistics you can throw around. There are a lot of valid issues on both sides, potentially, but it's such a large topic that it can be easy to forget that there are people at the heart of it. And if the policy you make or the claims you make don't start from an understanding that it's just someone else in our community and the world, then you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Well, thank you so much and congratulations. If you wouldn't mind, could you throw up a hook'em for us? Just like that. Perfect. Thank you so much. Congrats. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And for more awesome Film Fest coverage, feel free to check out our page.